Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Israel and Lebanon begin peace talks. North Korea test fires missiles. Amazon buys satellites, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Lebanon and Israel held talks in D.C. The two countries engaged in their first direct diplomatic dialogue in more than 30 years yesterday, meeting in Washington to lay the groundwork for future negotiations as Israeli strikes in Lebanon, where Iran-backed Hezbollah is based, have displaced more than 1 million civilians, according to UN claims. Hezbollah has said it will not abide by any agreements reached between Israel and Lebanon. Meanwhile, several Iran-linked ships appeared to pass through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, though the U.S. said no ships got through its blockade on Iranian ports. With a ceasefire barely holding, Iran and the U.S. could reportedly meet for another round of in-person talks as soon as this week. North Korea's Kim Jong-un observed launches of 2 cruise missiles and 3 anti-ship missiles from his prized new warship, the 5,000-ton class destroyer Cho-Hayan, state media announced. The cruise missiles flew for more than 2 hours and the anti-ship missiles for more than 30 minutes along preset trajectories over the country's western seas before accurately striking their targets on Sunday. Kim has hailed the development of the Cho-Hayan, which was first unveiled in April 2025, as a major step towards expanding the operational reach and preemptive strike capabilities of his military. Congress shifted its ethics focus yesterday to 2 Florida lawmakers in the wake of Monday's announcements that embattled Reps Eric Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez, both facing sexual misconduct charges, would leave the House. Next to face possible expulsion from the House over ethics issues are Florida Representatives Sheila Sheriffless McCormick, a Democrat, and Corey Mills, a Republican. A House Ethics Subcommittee found Sheriffess McCormick guilty of funneling $5 million in COVID relief funds to her campaign. The panel is set to announce recommended sanctions at an April 21st hearing. Mills is under ethics investigation on allegations including a variety of misconduct, all of which he denies. His case timeline remains unclear. A federal appeals court ordered Judge James Boasberg to shut down his criminal contempt investigation of the Trump administration. The D.C. Circuit ruled 2-1 that Boasberg's year-long probe into whether officials defied his order to halt deportation flights of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador was a clear abuse of discretion. The U.S. Justice Department sued Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont and the city of New Haven on Tuesday over sanctuary policies. The department said those policies interfere with federal immigration enforcement. The lawsuit targets state and local rules that limit cooperation with federal immigration authorities and marks a new legal challenge by the administration against local protections for undocumented immigrants. The Trump administration rolled back sanctions on Venezuela's state-controlled banking system, unlocking the country's access to the broader global financial system for the first time in years. The relief comes as the U.S. tries to expand development in the Venezuelan oil sector and shore up the fragile government of acting President Delcy Rodriguez, who took power following the U.S. capture of Nicolas Maduro in January. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration asked Eli Lilly for additional safety data on its newly approved weight loss pill, Foundayo. Reuters reported the agency required post marketing trials to assess risks related to cardiovascular events and delayed gastric emptying. Foundayo, a once daily oral GLP-1 medicine, was approved earlier this year and began selling last week. Amazon said Tuesday it will acquire satellite company Globalstar in an $11.57 billion deal as it expands its satellite internet business. Reuters reported the purchase adds Globalstar's 24 satellites to Amazon's network of more than 200 and is expected to support direct-to-device service beginning in 2028. Amazon said Globalstar will continue supporting Apple features, including emergency SOS. Boeing delivered more aircraft than Airbus for the first time since the MAX crisis began in 2018. According to its orders and deliveries data released today, the U.S. plane maker handed over 143 commercial aircraft in Q1 2026 compared to just 114 for Airbus, giving Boeing a 29 aircraft advantage. For Boeing, this represents 10% year over year growth, while Airbus deliveries have declined by 16% over the same period. That's the Raw Naked Truth for April 15th, 2026. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.